Hello everybody, welcome back. If you have not been here before, my name is Debbie and I read a lot of books. So, for Series Sunday today, question of the day. What is your favourite book series? Just the favourite one. What is the one book series that when you think of it, you're just like, yeah, that's the favourite one. That is the favourite. For me, I think my relationship with Harry Potter as I was growing up was definitely favourite of the childhood, or more kind of like the teen years, was Harry Potter. When I was younger, it definitely would have been Famous Five, because I was obsessed with Famous Five as a kid. And then now, I'm going to say the Beaufort series, all the Beaufort books by Sarah Noffke and Michael Andel. But I do also really like the Jessie Hunt series by Blake Pierce. But yeah, so Famous Five when I was a kid, Harry Potter for the teen years, and then as an adult, I'm really enjoying the Blake Pierce Jessie Hunt series, and for fantasy, Beaufort. Every single Beaufort. Yeah. So today I've got Stalker by Lars Kepler, which is narrated by Saul Reichlin. I keep saying that. Reichlin. Is it Reichlin? Reichlin? How many times can I say Reichlin in a different way? So this was the audio book, book 5. It's a long one, 19 hours and 30 minutes. I did it over the space of about a week, I think, on lunch breaks, and also listening to it while I was getting ready for work, and also when I got home from work as well. But yeah, I'll just get in with that blurb for you. A video clip is sent to the National Criminal Investigation Department. Someone has secretly filmed a woman through her window from the garden. The next day, she is found dead after a frenzied knife attack. The police receive a second film of another unknown woman. There is no way of identifying her before time runs out. The woman's husband is traumatized by the violent scene. Criminal psychiatrist Eric Maria Bach is called in to hypnotize the man in order to unlock his memories of the murder scene. So after 4 books of wondering if he was going to come back, he's back. I did wonder if Eric Maria Bach was going to become a staple of the series in regards to helping the police with his hypnotist ways, because I knew he was in book 8, because I started off with book 8, and then I read the first book, which was The Hypnotist, that introduced us to Eric Maria Bach. But yeah, so after book 1, we didn't really see him, so to have him back in book 5 and him being such a big part of this book, it was really nice to see. And to be honest, I think of all the ones I've read so far, I think this has knocked The Mirror Man off the top. I really enjoyed this book, and Saul Reichlin as the narrator, I can't hear anybody else read it, but yeah, I so much enjoyed this book. I think just because of the premise of it with the stalking and the filming through the window, and it's another one where, like the Fire Witness, the bodies are staged. Very beginning of the book, it goes straight into this crime unit has received a video of somebody who has been stalked through her window, and before they know it, the woman is found dead, and they're just like, oh my god, what's going on? And then they get another video and they're just like, we have no time to find this. If this is anything like the first video that we received, I don't think we have time to find this woman. And they don't. It's the person who is filming the videos is taunting the police with these videos by saying, this is the next target, and there is nothing in this video that is going to help you identify this person before I have killed them. And when the second woman dies, when the husband comes home, he has a bit of a PTSD blackout. He has a blackout, does things which he shouldn't do, and then Eric Maria Bach is brought in to hypnotise him to try and get his memory back of what happened, and what the scene actually looked like, because you find out that when the husband came home, he went into shock and started cleaning up. He moved the body, and at first it's just a case of we are looking at the husband as a possible murderer because he tidied up, and then when Eric Maria Bach is brought in, they were just like, no, this seems like some sort of shock reaction, and so we want you to hypnotise him to try and get the memory back of what actually the scene actually looked like, because there's still some blood spatters in the apartment that helped him to figure out some of it, but ultimately they need the husband's memories back to recreate what happened and what the scene looked like and how she was staged, especially as there seems to be a pattern emerging, especially with the other women that are targeted, bodies being staged with, like, I think it's with her hand is over her ear, but then there's also ties into a story with Eric, with the hypnotist as he is, and a story about somebody who may possibly have been in prison for a very long time for a crime he didn't commit, and Eric is looking at that man because he has a lot of mental health issues, that man, and he suffers from epilepsy. There was also an event which affected both his short-term and his long-term memory, and hypnotises him also to try and figure stuff out, because you realise that Eric connects the current murders with the murder that happened that put this guy away, who was he a priest? Because there's references to a preacher through that storyline who may possibly be the actual murderer, but because the guy who's in prison for it has so many blanks in his memory and can say one thing and then will go, oh, I never said that, because his memory is just completely gone. Eric is trying to figure out how much he can trust from this convicted murderer, whether he did ignore something from the original trial because he didn't think it was relevant, or he just didn't believe the guy. And you realise that actually there might be an actual connection between the old murder and the new murders, and I loved this so much. I think it's just because the purpose of it is just Stalker, and there's something kind of fascinating about seeing how people's minds work when it becomes to that fascination and that honing in on just one thing and that obsession. There's something about that kind of story that I'm just like, I become obsessed with. What does that say about me is the question. Yeah, I just found this so clever and just so dark, and also because you're looking at it so much from Eric's point of view, and you're seeing a current relationship that is developing since his last relationship and his relationship with his son, and just seeing him trying to move on from that past relationship. And also, I will say, I'm now going to say something which might give slight spoilers for the end of the last book. But basically, after the events of the last book, Joona Linna faked his own death and went into hiding with his wife and his daughter to protect them from the Sandman of the previous book. I say the Sandman ended up also being two people, in a way, because there was identical twins involved in that one. As I said, spoilers for the last book. But because there was a target on his family's back and his back, Joona decided to fake his own death and go into hiding. So the beginning of this book, you are under the impression that Joona is dead. Obviously we know that he actually went into hiding, but it's presented as the idea that Joona is dead and that they're carrying on. And obviously, I started off with book 8, so I know that he's not dead. I know that he comes back out of hiding at some point. And because you don't actually know what happened, completely what happened at the end of the last book, there are still some question marks over whether the Sandman's brother is alive or dead. Because Saga is trying to... Is it Saga that's trying to identify it, or somebody else? Somebody in the Criminal Investigation Department, even though there were multiple gunshots aimed into this guy's body, they've never found the body, and so they know that if they find the body that they can get Joona out of hiding. It was quite a way into this book that Joona actually comes back into the narrative, so even though these books are presented as Joona Linna books, so much of it is told without Joona, which I find quite a clever way to do it, because a lot of the time if you're reading a book series which is based on one character, you're primarily seeing it through their point of view. But with these books, it doesn't feel like Joona is the primary focus of this. For pretty much all the books, they've had a primary focus on that main mystery. Because it's just like there was that book, was it The Nightmare, where we spent so much of it looking at two people who were on the run. And so, yeah, I just find it interesting that what is essentially a detective series, you're not actually seeing it mainly through the detective's eyes. But yeah, I just found this so good. I couldn't believe how long it was, like almost 20 hours, but I still felt like I read this quite quickly. To be fair, I read it on 1.5 speed. I'm quite a quick reader anyway when I'm just looking at the pages of a book, but it means that when it's being read to me, I prefer it to be sped up as well. Yeah, I just found the main theme with that stalker at the heart of it just fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. I loved it so much. I feel like I'm not saying as much about this in compared to some other book reviews, because it is very much a case of you do need to read it, because there's so many overlaps between different storylines happening in there in regards to the video clips that are being sent and Eric looking at his own behaviour in regards to that historic murder and how that guy got sent into prison, and questioning his own ethics there, and then seeing how that overlaps in. And then there's also another part of Eric's story that overlaps in as well, and it's like, yeah, through this it feels like the heart of this book is essentially Eric Maria Bach. And the ending of this, oh my goodness, it really does set up for the next book and trying to figure out where Joona is going to be, because I feel like there's a certain amount of time spent between certain books. With this one, it feels almost immediate, because you're very aware that Joona has been away for a while, because the next one is the Rabbit Hunter. Oh, there is a reference in the blurb to that one as to what happens to Joona at the end of the other book, so when I talk about the Rabbit Hunter, I'll talk about that then. I absolutely love this. I am obsessed with this, and I have heard that a TV series is being developed, which from the sound of things it's going to be called Lazarus, which I find interesting considering the other TV shows that are kind of based on that. Like there's the Lazarus Project, I'm pretty sure there's something else called the Lazarus out there as well, but Lazarus appears to be the working title, at least, for the TV series that is going to bring these books to life. And was it Tom Hardy? Yeah, it says Tom Hardy and Zazie Beetz, and it's in the works for Apple TV, and that was announced February last year. There's actually an article for my birthday, the 2nd of February 23, saying that Zazie Beetz and Tom Hardy were set for Lazarus. Early in the works, a series from Apple TV, A&E and Range. Oh, he's playing the serial killer. Who's he playing? Oh, I know who he's playing. Oh, that is going to be so cool, because it's, from the looks of things, even though it's got the title of Lazarus, the plot is looking at the plot of the Sandman. It looks like they're starting off with the Sandman for the first series of Lazarus. So yeah, I think Lazarus is the name of one of the books later in the series. So yeah, Lazarus is book 7, and I've just done book 5. So the next one was the Rabbit Hunter, and then it would be Lazarus, and then it goes into the Mirror Man, which was book 8. So I wonder if they're going to start with by calling it Lazarus, but then also coming back to the killer from the Sandman, if maybe they're going to change that storyline slightly so that he's always in the background. But he's been confirmed dead. This is putting a real question mark over the results of this book now, because now I'm just thinking, even though they have confirmed he's dead, now I'm wondering if he actually is. Oh my god, that has just exploded my brain. But yeah, I just found this, I really enjoyed this. It was so good. Oh my god. I'm looking forward to that TV series coming out and seeing what they do with it. So yeah, Apple TV, please don't mess this up, because these books are so good. Stalker, Lars Kepler, narrated by Saul Reichlin. This was a ride, and I'm so looking. I can't believe I'm already onto book 5. I can tell you how good it is. I'm just saying that. Go read it. Absolutely go read it. For me, this is the best one so far. And before I was comparing to book 8, and then I had like The Hypnotist kind of a close second. But this is, I think, because The Hypnotist, it had so much. I will say that they are very long books, as evidenced by the 19 hours and 30 minutes. But even though there were times when you're just like, I feel like this could have been told in fewer words, but ultimately it feels like every word Every sentence, every syllable has been chosen very, very carefully. Neil Smith was the translator for this one. Yeah, so even though you can have times of thinking this feels a bit long-winded, do we really need all of this? And you get to the end and you're just like, no, this was all very much needed. It's a very intense storyline. So Stalker, Lars Kepler. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Again, question of the day. What is your favourite series? What was your favourite book series? So if you have different ones for different ages, like I did, as I said, for me, when I was a little kid, it was definitely The Famous Five by Enid Blyton. As I got older, I very much fell in love with the Harry Potter series. Shame about the author. And then at this point, I'm very much enjoying the Beaufort series by Sarah Noffke and Michael Andel. To be honest, I'm pretty sure Lars Kepler's in there now as well. But I also really, really love the Jessie Hunt series by Blake Pierce. So yeah, I've got a few. I love them all for different things. Also, they're all very different. This is so dark, whereas the Blake Pierce series is very much along the lines of the comedy detective. So you've got the comedy, you have bits of darkness as well, but there's a heavy comedy element to it. And then with the Beaufonts, it's just pure fantasy and I love it. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and I will see you next time for another video. Stay safe, I love you all. Goodbye! Time to get a cup of tea, I think.